Hi, everyone, and welcome to our info session on AI-empowered leadership. My name is Eman Nasr. I'm going to be your moderator and MC for today's webinar. So thank you for coming, and it's really, really nice to have you today. And before starting, I would like to acknowledge and take the time to recognize that we are here present from the unceded traditional territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh people. My commitment to supporting truth and reconciliation is to increase awareness to the indigenous cultures and ways of knowing and doing and being, encouraging everyone to explore more about indigenous cultures in the areas where you live, and just, all the lessons that the cultures have provided regarding connection to community, land, and people. So a little bit about myself. I'm the executive director here for Executive Education Unit at Beedie School of Business, and I'm also visiting lecturer for Management Information Systems at the Beedie School of Business. All right, so we're going to be starting by first by a poll and a quick panel discussion with our panelists. So I'll be introducing in a bit. And then once we talk a little bit about that, we have an amazing featured alumni from the AI Empowered Leadership Program, who is going to talk to us a little bit about his journey in the program. And then after that, we will spend some time to talk about the program itself, giving a program overview and sample modules. We'll talk about 2 or 3 modules from the program today so that you get a feel of what that looks like. And then we will end bringing back our panelists after a second poll, into another discussion about AI transformation journeys. After all of this, we're going to be ending with a Q&A, opening up for the audience to be able to ask questions. You can actually go ahead and start asking questions or like posting your questions in the Q&A button that you see down the screens. So please go ahead and start asking those questions, and we will be taking them across along the session. So thank you very much for this, and now we're going to get started. All right, so starting first with really being curious to see where our audience are in terms of your organization's current position in the AI transformation or the AI journeys that you have. So please select where you feel your organization is at. Are you still exploring those opportunities? Are you having separate individual experimentation? Do you have some, a little bit more serious pilot projects that are going around and, proofs of concepts that's happening? Or you're already matured from that and already scaling successfully AI initiatives, or the top of the maturity, which would be the AI is already a strategic capability across the organization and it's very mature. So please select where you feel your organization is at. And let's see what everybody's at. Okay, so let's look at the results of the poll. Here we are. Wonderful. Okay, so roughly 1/3 of the audience is still exploring. So around 30% of the audience is still exploring AI opportunities. About quarter are, still going through individual experimentation. 45% almost, engaging in pilot projects and proofs of concept. Then we see much, you see that percentage thinning along the last 2 categories of we're already scaling up and or we're having AIs as a strategic capability across the organization. Now, this looks like, a bit of a normal distribution curve, in a way where we find, less people perhaps across the higher levels of maturity, which is quite, we've seen that maybe a couple of years ago, and it's really interesting to see, how there's more people now perhaps engaging in the pilot projects and proofs of concept. So that has definitely increased, but still we don't see a lot of people where AI is becoming more mature and a strategic capability. So this is great. I guess we're going to have our panelists here talk to us a little bit about why this could be the case. So next, I would like to introduce our panelists here, Dr. Andrew von Nordenflycht, who is a professor of strategy at the Beedie School of Business here at SFU, and Dr. CK, who is the Assistant Professor of Management Information Systems at the Beedie School of Business here at SFU. So welcome, Dr. Andrew and Dr. CK, to our panel here. And I would like to start asking you a question here about, how many or maybe most leaders are feeling some pressure to do something with AI. We hear that all the time. We need to do something with AI. How do you feel about this? And is this the right approach? Or alternatively, perhaps what could be the first question they should ask instead? So maybe
Thank you, Eman.
yeah, Dr. Andrew.
I'll jump in. Yeah, and thanks so much. And thank you everybody for joining us today. It's great to have you. I mean, the question about what if feeling pressure to do something about AI, what questions should we be asking first? Look, I'm a strategy professor. I teach a module on strategy in this program, so not surprisingly, my answer is going to be there'd be an important first question about like what is our strategy, and particularly how can we enhance the organization's value proposition? And when I say value proposition, I mean what's the distinctive value that our organization offers that allows us to win customers or to satisfy our customers and deliver our mission. And I just can give an example from a past participant of the program where the participants' idea or AI initiative coming in was in this very common form of, oh, we'll have a chat bot that connects to our organizational policies so that people have an easier time finding information. But when we asked, okay, well, but what's the central value proposition of your organization? And this was a kind of a research funding organization. Then the participant came up with this idea, oh, well, maybe we could actually be more specific and start matching the research profiles of our research faculty against funding opportunities locally, provincially, nationally, and using it just much more specifically for our organization and what we're about. So I'll pass it on to CK for his take on this question.
Well, thanks, Andrew, and welcome everyone again. My background's a little bit more technical, and I sit in the middle of the technical and the strategy or implementation side of things. So my response to this would be like, you should never do something, especially with AI, just because there's a pressure to do it. My response would be what you should first be trying to understand is what AI is and what AI isn't, which is quite an important question because there's so much hype surrounding this thing that there's this notion that AI can do everything, including, as you've probably seen on the news, a lot of executives claiming that AI is going to take over jobs, so either not making the right hiring decisions or letting people go, assuming AI is going to take over those things. And those never work out in the long run. So I think the first step to start is understanding what AI can do, cannot do, then look at it from a very risk perspective, where how much of human judgment is really applicable to what you want to apply AI for. And the heuristic is you can think of any AI implementation either as a calculator, as a really smart intern, or as an autopilot. And you got to use your strategy of your organizations, your experience, your risk assessment, and your leadership skills to kind of very carefully decide what to automate, what's the danger if something goes wrong, how to fix that, and who's going to be responsible for it. And the other thing I do want to add is it's critical to understand that you shouldn't approach AI as an IT project. The way we traditionally do IT implementation is completely different from an AI implementation. You want to think of AI more as an R&D product, which then moves on to like a production or an implementation rather than a straightforward IT implementation project.
Absolutely, yeah. Oh, thank you so much, Dr. CK and Dr. Andrew. I mean, we looks like strategy is the key word for today and maybe for AI in general. So I'm so glad, and we'll talk. Dr. Andrew will talk to us a little bit more about it and parts of what is in the AI EL program about that strategic alignment and that strategic aspect. So So glad you both alluded into that. Yeah, and then we'll get a little bit onto also governance and other challenges into along our webinar. Okay, thank you so much for your insights towards this. And so next, I would like to introduce our featured alumni, Wayne Tang, who is the Director of Life and Disability, coming to us from Pacific Blue Cross. So thank you so much, Wayne, for joining us today. It's such a pleasure to have you, as it was to have you through the AIL-empowered leadership program. So yeah, leaving it up to you, maybe to quickly introduce yourself and talk to us a little bit more about your journey within the program and after the program, and how that could have supported your AI transformation aspirations at PBC. So welcome, Wayne.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for the opportunity to come up in front of the panelists and also the hopefully future participants of this course to be able to share my experience. It is definitely a pleasure to be here. So just, thanks for the intro. I am an operations manager through and through. And so my whole spiel is really around managing a department for disability claims. And so what's really important for me is that we're really looking to engage our members and our claimants in a really meaningful way. Nobody's ever going to say that disability management is glamorous. It is absolutely not glamorous, but it's important work. We're engaging with these folks when they're the most vulnerable. They're injured. They're looking for wage replacement. So we want to be able to make really well founded claims decisions. When we do our jobs well as insurance companies, you never hear about anything. When we don't do our jobs well, that's when you start to hear things, right? And things come up in the news and whatnot. So it's really important for us to make those right decisions. And you can imagine some of these claims can be really complex, right? Sometimes they're like years in duration. The claim file might be, several hundred, perhaps even 1,000 pages long. And so for us as a human trying to engage in that claim and staying up to date, that's really key, but it's really increasingly more and more difficult to make sure that we have the right information, but also do we have the most current information? Am I making that claims decision in a way that from the latest doctor's report versus a doctor's report from, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago, which may be a little bit redundant at this point. And so what the solution or the problem we're really looking to solve is like, how can we still keep that human in the whole equation? Because it is still a human decision at the end of the day, but how can we enhance the experience of my case managers so that they're engaging in our claimants, our members in a more meaningful, definitely a more meaningful way. And I'm calling it PBC Insight Assist. That, as we kind of move forward, we might change that a bit, but excited to kind of show you what we're thinking about. Okay, so the aptly named PBC Insight Assist, what is it? I'm really looking to make sure that every communication point between my folks and the members, the claimants, is as meaningful as possible. Let's be really, really clear about it. Nobody wants to chit chat with their insurance representative. We're not going to talk about the weather or anything like that. So our goal is to minimize the number of touch points or engagements with our members, but we want to make sure that each one of those engagements is as effective and meaningful as possible. So the AI tool that we're looking to stand up is an analysis of the claim file, the 1,000 pages that we have on file that's digitally stored in our network. And so that tool will be able to provide and find missing, outdated, or inconsistent information. And then it's going to bring forward, it's like, hey, like here's the things that you need to be able to pull in. Your information from the specialist is out of date. You don't have you don't have an updated information on this. You're missing information from the physiotherapist. And so it really hones in on what my case managers need to be able to focus on. And then taking a step further, provide some really plain language conversation guides so that when my case managers pick up the phone, they're prepping for the call with the claimant, the member, they know what the purpose of that call is. They have an idea of like how to be able to frame some of those questions in a way that's going to be customer centric, so that we're not engaging our members in a way that feels really, I'll call it insurancy, but we're able to speak with them so that they're able to give us that information as quickly as possible. And so this tool will really serve as a quality checklist for us and just improve our accuracy and consistency of how we manage our claims moving forward. This is a busy slide. I'm not going to cover all of it, but some of the benefits that I'm really looking to materialize through the standing up of this initiative is, number one, better engagement and better experience for our members. Like, we're super member centric here at PBC, and so the better experience that they have in a time where most people probably don't have the best perspective of insurance is like we're going to take every opportunity to be able to move that dial just a little bit. And if the member's having a better time, our case managers are having a better time. They're people as well. So to have those more fruitful conversations is really beneficial. Durability of a claim is really important from an insurance perspective. So to be able to shorten things up in terms of how long a claim lasts, by being more precise in terms of what we action and being quicker in terms of our action is also very important. And lastly, very quickly, because we're going to be more consistent with our claims process and how we ask our questions, what information we're pulling in a more consistent way, we're going to have a stronger compliance from a regulation perspective. We're obviously highly regulated kind of professional arena, as well as we're going to be ready for our next audits. Like, everybody's favorite thing when we get audited, it's like, oh, you forgot to do this and you didn't do that and we should have done that. It's like, yeah, this is really going to help us with that compliance piece. All right, so how far have we gotten so far? And I believe I took this last cohort, it might have been in the last cohort. It was sometime in the fall, winter, because I remember the weather being absolutely dark during these courses, dismally dark. But we've so far moved forward with upgrading our case management platform to be able to enable summaries of documentation, and as well as providing claim summaries. Really key, obviously, foundation to kind of understanding what's on the claim. We've enabled the AI capabilities in terms of our claims platform so that we have AI enabled transcripts and summaries, again, providing us that foundational information so that we understand what's on claim as well. We started building and user testing some of the basic agents to be able to understand, like, well, okay, now that we have some information, we understand what's on claim, what information is missing? Can we consistently identify what is actually missing from this massive pile of information that we currently have? So we are moving forward. This is obviously a big endeavor, but I'm really hopeful and optimistic that we're going to get what we need. Last slide, and I'll do a bit of a plug. Thinking back to my experience from last year, what I really enjoyed, a couple things. So first of all, there is a method to all the course itself. So as you're moving through, you're thinking about the risk, you're thinking about the strategy, you're thinking about data points, you're thinking about the operational model. As I said, I'm an operational person. So the change management piece, understanding how my people will react to some of these changes, is going to be really key. So at the end of the day, you have a business case. It's done. You go through the experience, you go through the exercises, and you have a business case. Does it need to be a little bit polished? Absolutely. But you know what? Like, it's like 80-90% there. So that's been really helpful for me to engage my executive leadership and to be able to get buy-in for this initiative. Second plug, I mean, I was lucky enough to be part of the SFU Executive MBA program. And so one thing that really jumped out at me is that what these folks are going to teach you is, in fact, very deeply rooted in the business model. So we've talked a lot about strategy. Andrew's not going to tell you that that AI, you're not going to be able to AI yourself out of a bad strategy. And so he'll talk to you about what are this really difficult decisions you need to make, and how can AI enhance that? So I really found that really helpful. And thirdly, before I kind of pass it off, what I enjoyed was actually the peer insights. There's a lot of group work. You share back a lot of information with people that have no idea what you do, but you're getting some really good outsider feedback. And so that I've been able to kind of pull some of that perspective to be able to build a stronger business case. So with that, I'll pass it back.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Wayne, for walking us through your business case, your application, and your feedback on the program. Really appreciate that. So I'll talk here a little bit, just building on what you've mentioned, Wayne, about maybe some of the value points that you've seen in the or witnessed in the program. I want to showcase a little bit how we do that. So what exactly does that program look like, and what are some of the elements there that can help executives and leaders walk through creating the right business case or the right use case for AI and lead those transformations in the right way. So yeah, before starting, I just want to say that this is a great quote that we always find and go by, that we shouldn't be limited by what the organization has been, but rather what they could be. So this is really opening up into the possibilities that with AI specifically become almost like unlimited. So just driving through the creativity and making sure that instead of being stuck in perhaps not just previous but even current economy, we're really preparing for the coming future economy. And so I think that organizations should be really well aware of that and really prepared for that. The key learnings from the AI-EL program, AI Empowered Leadership Program, is one thing that I want to highlight is that this is really a leadership program, not necessarily a technical AI program. You learn about AI, but as perhaps Dr. CK has alluded to, what is hype and what's not hype? What is special about this one? Why does it need its own leadership program? So we help people think about leadership in a new way, redefining how to position yourselves as leaders and your position and the position of your organization to lead through this new economy and this new era of AI. The alignment of this, or the strategic alignment, how to have that as a vision, and embrace that AI is not just another technology. It's not just another thing that IT are going to handle, but rather it's more than a tool. It's more than that. So what is really non-hype about AI that needs attention from leaders and executives? And how to adapt the culture to be able to embrace something as big and different and exponentially changes and progressing as AI. So these are the key things here that are in the program in comparison to maybe any other technological transformation that some of us may have encountered. In terms of the format is very, very accessible. So this is a purely online program. You're going to find a blend of what we call on-demand or self-paced elements that you do at your own convenience, at your own time. That are still produced by faculty members who are instructors or teaching the program. And you've got the weekly peer learning sessions, which I guess Wayne was talking just about the value of these, because you get two things here. You get exposure into fresh eyes into the work that you do, and at the same time you get to also have that critical and helpful insights into what others are doing from different industries. And there's a lot of cross-industry learning and peer learning that happens in those environments of the peer learning. The curriculum is purely executive focused and executive targeted. So it's targeting leaders and executives who are pushing their own transformations and initiatives in AI. The duration of the program is over 11 weeks, and it's all virtual online. And one of the great things that you'd find in the program is that it's bringing specialized faculty. So every module is its own specialty of its own faculty member, as we will see right here in the curriculum. So 8 main modules where you're going to find all of those different faculty members engaging in each of those modules. So highly specialized. Sorry, 9 modules. Highly specialized. Bringing together some of the top experts in each area or each module that is being delivered. So we start by talking, about generally harnessing the AI potential. What is there? Again, the whole notion of the hype, non-hype. What is out there that is possible? And then we get into leadership, because one of the things that people hear about is that how do we not adjust, but adapt the culture? How do we lead people? How do we manage resistance and some of the skill gaps potentially? And then we focus on strategy. So the whole transformation is strategically aligned and strategy led. And then, of course, we delve into how data is itself a strategic asset, and we need to think about it maybe in a slightly different way than we have before. And from there, we get into transforming operating models. So you can't really amend AI as something that's going to be on top of existing structures and governance and working models and processes. There's some transformation that needs to happen in the operating model. And how do we focus on customer experience as a key part of that? Then, of course, we get into humans in the loop because that's a key element of AI. And from there, we also have to put some focus into, safety, responsibility, accountability. When it comes to AI, these become quite key issues that you have to delve into before engaging on the roadmap, which is the final capstone and what leaders put together as they learn about all of the above. Now your use case, your business case, you know how that this is the right strategic decision. You know about data, you know about all those pieces. So how do you put together a roadmap moving forward? At the end of that, people walk away with a certificate that's actually a digital badge that we provide through our SFU Dial branded certificate that is able to be integrated into your LinkedIn profile. So you can show that credential with all of the elements that have been applied and learned throughout the program. So that's something that is that you walk away with. So from here, I would like to first, perhaps before getting into a couple of sample modules so that you get to see a little bit more about, what actually is in the program, as a sampler. I want to remind people that there is Q&A here. You're able to post your questions, so please post any questions that you may have. Remember that this is something that, we'd love to hear from you. So please go ahead and ask questions. And from here, I would like to hand it over to Dr. Andrew von Nordenflycht to talk to us a little bit about his module, Strategy Aligned AI. So off to you, Dr. Andrew.
Thanks so much, Eman. So this is the third module, and the title is Strategy Aligned AI. And there are three ways that we approach strategy. I'm going to use the strategy concept as outlined by these 3 bullet points. First, I offer my definition of strategy and good strategy in particular. And then secondly, we go through asking participants to identify their organization's strategy in order to figure out how to align your AI initiative to the organization's strategy, its most important priorities. And then third, take the same concept of good strategy and a framework for developing good strategy and apply it to the implementation of your AI initiative. Right? What would be a good strategy for making this thing happen? And so I just wanted to give an example of the beginning of the module and the end of the module from the participants' standpoint. So I start with a definition of strategy, a simple definition of strategy, a plan to respond to an important challenge. And then talk about the fact that there's, whether or not you have a strategy, you can have a strategy and not be that good, right? And it's useful to define good strategy and bad strategy, where a good strategy is a plan to respond to an important challenge that concentrates force where it can have an outsized impact. And to understand the difference between good strategy and bad strategy, we need to say, well, what would be a bad strategy? Well, the opposite is dissipating force across multiple low leverage and even inconsistent objectives. And what that turns into is that a good strategy has at least these three components. It identifies the challenge that you're trying to overcome. It makes very clear choices. What are we going to do? What are we not going to do? And it specifies concrete actions. Bad strategy is usually characterized by only having a set of goals. We want to achieve customer service excellence and low costs, but it doesn't say how we're going to do that, and it doesn't identify what trade-offs we're going to make in order to accomplish those goals, and it doesn't give us a plan of action. Obviously, in both the asynchronous videos for this module, I elaborate and give examples of these concepts. And secondly, I also use this in applying it to your AI initiative. Then at the end, what I ask participants to do is a twofold assignment here. Right? One is, okay, articulate how the initiative that you're working on supports your organization's strategy. And this requires that you identify the organization strategy, and that's a lot of what we would try to work through. And then say, okay, well, you're thinking of this particular initiative. How does it support the organization's value proposition? And then secondly, I ask participants to come up with one additional Gen AI application idea that would also tightly align with the organizational strategy. And I find that this second ask reveals some very interesting and almost kind of tighter and more clever AI ideas, because participants are now explicitly starting from the organizational strategy and the priorities and saying, oh, how could we, as I said at the beginning of this webinar, how can we use that, use AI to enhance that? And so I've really enjoyed seeing people's ideas. They're kind of more original, more organization-specific ideas for AI applications. So that's just as Dr. Nasr said, a sampling, a taster of Module 3, how we start and how we end. And I will turn it over to CK to talk about his module.
Hi, folks. So my module builds on top of and on the side of every other module, including Andrew's. And very broadly, what I hope all of you will get out of this is to kind of at least be able to explain and show how data, models, and algorithms kind of come together, and why you should be very careful, especially with data, because that's the big sources of where bias and reliability of your AI solutions come in. Ultimately, however good your idea or your strategy or your AI potential applications are, if you're not able to capture the strategic value and actually deliver that, it's going to be a problem. There was a question in the panel, which I just noticed, do you need a technical background? No, you don't. Luckily enough, it's pretty easy to code using the various LLMs, but what is critical is that you understand conceptually what is going on. And I think we do a pretty good job in this program of giving you a conceptual understanding of what is going on, so you know the right questions to ask and the right places to seek help as and when you need them. To give you a quick preview of class, this is what I'm going to be talking about. On the left, this is the big picture of the entire process. There is a model objective for your AI model, what question you want to answer. This is the part where you do the translation between the strategy, or where you see an idea applying to your business, either now or in the future. And what AI and ML does is take the data, make sure that it is correct and consistent, get some kind of statistical results, and it gives you an output. It's your job, again, to take that output and then make a translation to what business decision you have to make. So your jobs, in a sense, is to be the translators between what goes into the model, what questions you want to ask or answer, what the model's telling you, and how you're going to translate that into some kind of decisions and some kind of profitability or some success. Now, a big part of this data and model, which AI automates and if you see that asterisk of like the performance varies because there's just so much complexity here, is that the base of how good your models will work or how good your AI initiatives will work comes down to a simple thing of how good is your data management process. And I cannot stress this enough. If your data is not in a good place, spend more time in actually getting the data together before you do any AI process, or else things are just going to go completely wrong. On the right, you see the data science hierarchy of needs, everything from collection to where is it stored, how do you move data from different departments or different sources, how do you transform it in a way that you can actually start using it for your specific AI use cases. If you don't do this work, you run into an issue where there's a whole amount of biases which kind of come into your AI products. And there's a lot of biases. There's, statistical biases, there's human biases, which all of us, are unfortunately used to in decision-making processes. And there's also systemic biases. So I'll kind of take you through in the course of what happens if your training data is biased, and if you don't spot that early on, what happens if the algorithms itself are biased towards one particular way or not, selection problems, interaction problems, and so on and so forth. And the reason why I'm showing that is because there are lots of cases, and I'm sure you've seen in the news, of people coming out and saying, hey, we have a new AI model or product which can do all these wonderful things. And without fail, a few months or years down the line, they come back and we find out that, no, there's a big bias problem. In the medical field, there's routinely new companies which come out and say, hey, we have one of the best cancer detections or X-ray reading products out there. And it comes back that they use data which was not wide enough or bias-free enough. And you find out that it completely keeps missing spotting diseases in people of color or in women because you just don't have that much training data for. There's also other cases, especially in the Netherlands, where they applied an AI tool to identify tax fraud cases, and there was no human in the loop decision making, and they ended up sending out fines and letters for tax collection to a wide variety of people, which turned out to be completely wrong. And this almost brought down the Dutch government. The finance minister got fired, and a lot of the GDPR rules around AI deployment in the EU came from learning off of this kind of unfortunate situation. And this is not like, a couple of examples. These examples happen again and again and again. And if you see the latest push now is all companies try to push all their employees to use a lot of coding. And now they're pushing back saying, please don't use more than X amount of prompts because the economics of using prompts is not accurate yet. So if your data is structured in a way in which you can actually use this to have good results, if you figure out ways to test how good your AI implementations really are, if you've done the hard work of figuring out the strategy, you're in a much better place. So that's an overview of my module, and I'll turn it over to Eman now.
Oh, thank you so much, Dr. CK. This is great. Well, it so happens that Dr. Andrew, Dr. CK, and my modules are like 3, 4, and 5, so kind of consecutive to this order that we're presenting to you. So I'll go quickly over mine also as a sampler, just that people know what you would learn in that module as well. So in this module about rethinking operating models, we talk about, first of all, assessing the AI maturity. So pretty much the poll question that we had at the very beginning, where is your organization from those different maturity levels? And then we talk about what does it mean to think about the operating model, and what does it mean to really redesign, rethink, rewire the operating model. So again, AI is not just an add-on that you're going to plug over existing workflows and processes, but rather you need to really think about it in a different way. So just perhaps very quickly here, and also being aware of the time, is this is pretty much somehow in line with the first question that we asked the audiences about where is your organization on those different levels of maturity? Are you still like ad hoc, still seeing a lot of barriers, just exploring, or there's multiple experiments that are scattered, which is kind of a level 2, or you have within one business domain, you have a successful ish business or like use case within a function within a domain that's already up and running, or you have done an enterprise-wide reinvention which is strategically aligned, and so you've taken a few steps and you know that you're on the right track. And of course, the highest level of maturity that we talk about is the whole value chain reinvention. So you go even beyond one single organizational boundaries. And then we get from there into the realization gap, like what is preventing us to go from one level of maturity to the next. And we talk about, well, we go over the strategic alignment that people would have already gone through with Dr. Andrew, but then also from there, what is the operational alignment? So that thinking about from doing the right thing, I know I'm doing the right thing, into how to do things right. And that's kind of the operational alignment, and specifically delving into what we call beta or business IT alignment. So how is that new IT initiative aligned with the business needs and then the business, operational planning and operational strategy. So yeah, 4 elements mainly, and that's already my last slide. So I'll go over that quickly. Is that when we talk about operating model, we talk about different frameworks, different philosophies about it. And it comes down to 4 main elements that we delve deeper into as to how do you want to think about each of those: structure, governance, process and workflows, technology and data, people and culture. So these are the different elements. And throughout the course, you would have actually touched upon pretty much all of those 4 elements, so that you know the different dimensions and the different aspects that you need to think about before launching and before leading an AI transformation. So within the operating model, you think about, how, what are some of the governance aspects? How can IT be structured? Is AI an IT problem? The CIO, and, what's the role of the CIO or the CEO when it comes to that? And again, back to the business IT alignment, how does that happen? How can it happen? And then delve more into process and workflows, and how does that, or should that be redesigned, reconfigured, rewired for an AI to take a meaningful part in, new workflows. So that's where the operating model module kicks in. From here, I want to get back to the audience with our next question that will guide a quick discussion among our panelists. So bringing them back. What is your top challenge for leading AI transformation? I think in today's session, we alluded to multiple things: strategy, strategic alignment, people. Is it people's resistance? Is it skill gaps? Is it governance that people get stressful about, and safety, accountability? Is it the infrastructure? So data readiness, technological readiness, or is it the operating model? We're used to doing things one way. We can't really change, and it's hard to change. And AI doesn't fit into what we're doing. And so we can't see how we can, rewire things. We don't know how to do that. So which one of these seems to be your top challenge? I'm really, really curious to see where our participants are. And then from here, as we look into the results, we'll get into the next panel discussion and bring back our panelists. Oh, wow. Okay, so let's look into those results. And the top thing on people's mind seems to be governance and safety, that's kind of in line with what we hear all the time. We're interested in AI, but it raises up a lot of controversial questions when it comes to accountability, safety, ethical use, responsible use. So that's really quite interesting. And then next in line, we're seeing, oh wow, 1/3 of our audience here are saying infrastructure readiness. So CK, I guess you have a big job to to do here. A lot of people are thinking about their infrastructure. That could be the technological platforms, that could be the data readiness. So again, that's kind of in line with what we hear. And of course, people. And this is why leadership is a big element. Maybe the core element in this program is it is a leadership program. It is talking about, whether it's how to adapt the culture, change a culture, transform a culture, listen to resistance, and handle potential skill gaps and how to handle those. Okay, so thank you everyone for your answers to this. And from here, we want to bring back our panel into a next discussion item. Maybe we can have 7 minutes or so, or 5 to 7 minutes to talk about, what's your take on insights from participants of AI-EL program, AI Empowered Leadership Program? Dr. Andrew, Dr. CK, maybe you can talk to us a little bit about, what are some of the insights you gained from or you learned from our participants, whether it's their challenges, how they overcome the challenges. What do you want to share with the audience here?
So I can start. One of the big feedback I keep consistently hearing is the aha moment around how much critical thinking is actually required on things which you wouldn't realize requires critical thinking. What that means is something as simple as, hey, what data do I put into my model? Or how do I even evaluate the performance or potential bias in the model is not actually that easy to answer. It's going to require a lot of critical thought. There were some questions about like EDIA related topics. Yeah, that's one of the big takeaways I'm going to be covering in my part. If your data does not account for EDIA automatically, you have to figure out the process to put that in. And if whether you're running a pilot, a personal AI solution, or an enterprise-wide, the questions, the risks change. But what is common is the critical thinking required through how does data, how do your models fit into strategy and the larger picture. And that's the big takeaway participants get from this program.
Wonderful. Dr. Andrew, you have something to add?
Sure. And just as CK and I had fairly different answers on the first one, when I thought about this question, the insights I've gathered from teaching in this program, three instances, 4 instances of this program, is how much the participants learn from each other. Right. And I think that has been nice to see because well, I will say that coming back to that opening poll and our participants here, the spread across different levels of AI maturity within a given organization is probably broader than I might have expected. But I do think that it's helpful to be in a program like this where you're seeing other people facing some of the same challenges, having some of the same insecurities, and having people to bounce ideas off, in not just from the instructors. And I think Wayne, our alumni of the program, mentioned this as well, right? Working with classmates. So I think there's comfort finding classmates who are in similar situations with similar ambitions. I'll leave it there.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Sik and Dr. Andrew. And from here, again, encouraging everyone, if you have more questions, what you see, the QR code here takes you straight to the program page. I also shared the link in the chat. I got a question about the next intake. It's actually on the 29th of September. So right after everybody, not right, but giving you time to come back from your summer vacation, enjoy the summer, and engage with us in September. So hope to see more of you there. Let's see what else we have here. So someone is asking if participants will be working on a real organizational challenge. The answer is absolutely. So the outcome of the program is to have a roadmap right into your AI transformation journey so that you know exactly what you need to do. And along the program, every week you piece something together towards that final deliverable. So you're going to be working on it step by step. Every week you take a step, you learn from your peers, and you progress your idea and your initiative We have a question here about how does the curriculum address operating model changes required for AI transformation and moving pretty much up the maturity framework. So yeah, we share. So in my module, and I want to open it up also for Dr. Andrew and Dr. CK about how that how can what in the module, what you think in the modules can help people, because there's also data perspective and there's definitely strategic perspective. So yeah, we share with you specific frameworks that help you. So again, back to every week that you take forward a step in that roadmap or that overall capstone project. We share with you specific frameworks that you're able to apply to be able to determine steps that you can take. And we offer frameworks that you can actually use to move forward in the maturity framework. Off to the next question here. I think we just have a couple more. And do you speak to any EDIA related topics?
Yeah, I can take that. Yeah, one of the exercises I make everybody do in class is go through this little kind of online quiz, which kind of shows you where bias creeps into the system. And then we talk about how those bias creeps right in from the data to human decision making to algorithms and so on and so forth. And a big part of the reason for doing that is to focus on EDIA. If you don't think through the implications to EDIA right from the starting point of putting your data into the projects, things can propagate even if you don't intend for it to.
It's wonderful. And I just quickly want to add to this is that EDIA are actually embedded in multiple in multiple modules. So it's definitely a theme when we talk about humans, when we talk about safe and responsible use, and of course, Dr. CK just mentioned biases and all of those pieces. So yeah, maybe I'll jump to question for you, Wayne. Sorry to put you on the spot, but question is coming for you about when are you expecting to see the result of your AI project? You want to give us a quick snapshot on progress?
As with every enterprise level initiative, things are going to wax and wane as kind of the different positions kind of move through. But I'm hoping to have something that we can start to really have some really meaty user interface and user experience testing by end of year next year.
Lovely. That's it. So yeah, being aware of time, I think that's all we have. Again, I want to thank people very much for their time today. Everyone who attended, I hope this was helpful to give you a taste of how the program looks like and get you to meet some of our great faculty members here. Yeah, please visit the program webpage, and if you have any questions, please reach out to our amazing Dial team. They will be able to take up any questions for you. Yeah, and feel free to download the brochure for a little more information. And yeah, if you have any questions, please reach out. I hope to see you all in class. So wishing you a lovely rest of your days. And thank you so much for our panelists and Wayne for our alumni. Thanks all for your time today and for all the insights you've shared.